Hey everybody, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Infinity, Philip, Sergio, John, Michael, Wade, Arturo, Everett, Maurizio, Carlene, Craig, Roland, Donald, Ted, Cliff, Kevin. Good to see you, Kevin. Glad you made it live. Rex, Andreas, Mark, Laura, Rongamer. How's the Tesla game? General, good to see you this morning. Jorge, glad to see you. Glad to see you. Oh, I left my monster. Set my monster down off the table here. Put it back up here. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the final countdown on Bitcoin. We have about 6,500 coins to go. 44 days. We are in the window for the squeeze, and things could get spicy here. Really, really spicy. We saw Bitcoin come up and essentially tag the all-time high. Now it depends on which exchange you're looking at. Crypto.com, we set a new all-time high. On the futures, we set an all-time new high. Coinbase, we did not. We came up shy before the sellers jumped in, and we had one of the OG holders, one of the people that has millions of Bitcoins from the early days, actually sell a chunk. And that was interesting, I thought. There you go. That just popped up. That was interesting. So looking at roughly April 20th, 2024 at about 2:59 a.m. Universal Time, which puts that, I don't know, 5 hours back Eastern Time. It's going to be early late in the night, early in the morning, however you look at it. So 3 in the morning, whatever that is, 10 o'clock at night ish, I guess. So anyway, Eastern Time. It'd be in the afternoon if you're on the West Coast. So good morning, everybody. Keith, Darren, Mary, Larry, David, Kimberly is here. Suckbeer, Al, Infinity, Laura, Ryan, Nikki. Good morning, everybody. And if you're not subscribed, you're not chatting, you're like, I want to chat on the live stream. Click the button over here, be a subscriber. All the way over there on the other side. You gotta go way over there. Actually, I guess if I went like this, it'd be over here. Click the button, and then you can be a subscriber. Now, what does that get you? Well, not a lot, honestly. Now, if you want to get notified when I go live, so you get all these awesome predictions and tips, click the bell with the doodads, the notifications, and turn on all notifications. Then you get notified when I go live. And if you want to be part of the bigger conversation, you trust me at this point, you're like, JT, I want to know all the things. Well, Discord is where I share all the things, and the link is in the description below. Click the more button. It's like $5. Get in there. You get the roadmap line. You get all the stuff. You get the watch list. And if you want to know all the things, that does cost money. It's like Termite Trading Labs. That's the way you can go. Anyway, yeah, Salah. That's a cold place. It doesn't. Enos, Alaska doesn't actually exist. I was kind of bummed out, but yeah, they made that whole town up. Anyway, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. Hopefully, I'm entertaining. It seems that Nikki's finding some entertainment here this morning. And it's not a recommendation to buy or sell anything. Nothing at all. So if you desire that personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. So yeah. Yesterday I was run down. So my son, rewind to Monday night. My son got bit by a cat, a neighborhood cat. We didn't know the status of the cat. No collar, no tags, no nothing. And so we went to the emergency room. It was midnight essentially by the time I got home from getting him his rabies shots at this point. And that was about the time I ate dinner. So it was like 1 o'clock when I went to bed on Tuesday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning. And yesterday I was dragging butt. And then I did the morning show. I did a sales presentation, and I did 30 minutes of awesome. And I went home and cooked some bratwurst on the new grill. And I'd say, what was it, 9:30 last night, babe? I was smooth out. It may have been 9 o'clock. I don't know. I was out, and I slept basically from that time till now. So I'm a little bit recharged today, a little bit amped up just a tad. And then got my pineapple monster, and yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. All right. So today we have Jerome Powell testifying. Dun, 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 dun. We've got him coming up hot. Right there. And he should start at what time? 10 o'clock. So he's going to get going here in about 40 minutes. So if you want to watch that, you can. Usually it's a lot of boring with a few with a little comedy sprinkled in. I find it comedy because what they say is just ridiculous a lot of times. Now, is he going to remain hawkish, or is he going to remain dovish, or is he just going to be wishy-washy? I don't know. Typically, Congress doesn't like it a lot when he's wishy-washy. So we'll see what he actually comes up with. This is the House Financial Services Committee. It's not the full House, but he's testifying, and the market will hang on his words, and the algos will react. So be careful out there. Be careful. Be careful. Alrighty. Kimberly probably say you have no idea how jokey I can get at times. My kids' first language is probably sarcasm. Second, their English is a second language. Is first language was sarcasm. And anyway, I do speak with a heavy dose of sarcasm most times. As Kimberly said, my daughter's like, "How do people believe you when you talk about the financial markets?" And Kimberly's like, "No, your dad is very serious when he's talking about financial stuff." And my daughter's like, "Are you kidding right now? Are you being sarcastic?" Anyway, I try to give you all cut the crap out for you all and give you the truth. So anyway, Bitcoin, look at that, coming back strong. We're in the zone now. Which path do we take? Do we pop it to the 1618? Do we grind sideways for a little while, or do we retrace from here? That is the question. That is the question. I don't really have a great answer for you right now. It is unclear. That's the best, straightest answer I can give you right now. Now, just take a look at this. Right there's kind of the channel that we've been hanging with my homies. And what are we going to do? Breaking out can take us to a much higher level. We just break out of the top. I give that low probability based on the fact that we've been straight the frick up since October. If we break down, that increases the odds exponentially that we are going down. Now, we may fake out and do something crazy, crazy Ivan. We've seen that plenty of times where we kind of bust the bottom, then bust the top. And Bitcoin was doing that before we did this last pop. So be cautious, all right? There's no guarantees, but statistically speaking, if we break out of the top and we don't just like fake out and break down, we're probably going to a higher level. If we break out of the bottom, probably coming down to a lower level. All right? Simple as that. Simple as that on the S&P right now. If we just hang, we're just going to keep grinding. If we just hang in the channel. So that's the way you can do it. Anyway. All right. Moving on. That's the long and the short of it. Get it? Long and the short. All right. So I'll save that to maybe try and preserve that chart. Moving on. Netflix. That's the list from last night. Pop over to the morning movers. Check it out. S&P in the resistance zone. We came up. Look. For those who've been following me, those who've been hanging out, look. 51.50. If I missed it by 33 cents, dang. You got to be kidding me, right? We may go tag 51.50. It's possible. It's probable. 51.50 has been my target, been my resistance for months. And I speak movie quotes, Kevin. You'll hear movie quotes come out of my mouth constantly. Kimberly's like, I don't even know what movie that's out of. And I won't even be able to remember what movie it's out of. So I speak movie quotes constantly. It was just a thing we did when I was in, I guess, middle school, high school in the 90s, Me, my friends, my family, we all spoke movie quotes. It was like we could have a whole conversation and nothing but quotes. So anyway, hey Logan, glad to have you. Alrighty. S5FI. I don't know. Is that going to be a lower high? And we dump. Caution to the wind. Stocks above the 200-day. Definitely cautious. And was this up here close enough to count as hitting 79.08? I don't know. This one's even stronger on the oscillations than the S5FI. This stock's above the 200-day. We haven't actually, this whole rally from the October 22 low, so we're talking year and almost year and a half, we haven't hit 80. That's kind of interesting to me. We're making all-time highs. We were making all-time highs here. We're making all-time highs, yet we don't have the participation. I don't think we're going to get it either. You see, we topped out back here. Like, this was the actual prior high in the market right here before we dumped. This was the high in the stocks above the 200-day back here, April, before we topped in January after that. This is telling a story, and we don't know what the lesson is yet, but I'm cautious. I'll have to tell you, this is like an indicator light flashing on the cockpit or dashboard. Like you're not sure what that indicator means. I have a good feeling it means we're going down, but that one's kind of flashing at me. This one's flashing at me. Things aren't right. Something's not right. Glitch in the matrix, whatever you want to say. This is not structural. You know, when people talk about market internals, this is market internals, okay? Stocks above the 50-day moving average. This is a weakening of market internals. Stocks above their 200-day. This is a weakening of market internals. We topped out in December, and we've been declining. I mean, yeah, we went down and we've been rallying up, but we're still, in general, that's a declining trend, all right? Stocks above the 20-day is a little more volatile, quite a bit more volatile. I mean, 20 days a lot faster than 50 or 200. So we have had some volatility in, I was suspecting we might go spike up again, because a lot of times we'll see this dip low and then come out again before we actually roll. You see that? We did that right over here in June and July. Came down, we spiked up, kind of had another dip, lower high, and then went down in a blaze of glory. That stock's above the 20-day. So we may see this pop up again in the same sort of, make it a little boop, and then roll. So be careful out there. ES, getting a little retrace. I thought we would see a retrace after that big down flush yesterday. And right up, we're getting close to the level. And last night I ran from the high to the low, from the high here to the low here, and came up with this orange resistance zone right here around 5130, 5120, 5130. If we break above that, odds are we're going on up, probably 5180, maybe 5200. So those are the targets if we break above. And that's for ES. Why ES? Because the S&P 500 hadn't started chooching yet today. We got about 2 minutes before it opens. And there's a, that was a word off of a YouTube video. A YouTuber, Arduino versus Evil, says chooch. Anyway, there you go. That's the resistance. We break above it. Watch out, watch out. If we glance off of it, watch out down here, closer to 50-20, 50-30. That'd probably be the target down here. There you go. There's the long and the short of it. In Q, similar situation. Nice big fat dump, and we can clear some fib lines, so it clears it up just a little bit for us. Yeah, I'm down in the smaller time frames because that's where the story is today. So we've got resistance right up here. See how we consolidated right there? Oh, coincidence? I think not. If we find resistance and turn down from that zone, watch out below. If we get above it, probably coming on up here, extensions. That would be the target. And continuation lower at the minimum would be that off of, we'll just say the 618 right in the middle there. And so that puts the target for the downside somewhere in that zone. And then it's likely to bounce again. So that's the way you do it. Anyway, full energy today. That's Huntsville. Well, heck, Patrick, man, you're just dancing around, man. Huntsville. Have fun in Alabama. After my grandpa retired from the Air Force. Yeah, AVE. He's pretty fun. After my grandpa retired from the Air Force, he started a pig farm in LA, Lower Alabama. It's down around Grady, I guess. I think it's south of Montgomery. Went down there quite a bit, but it's a long way down from Huntsville. My dad's a character. For anybody that's met him, and people are like, "You're pretty unique." I was like, "Actually, there's two of them. He has a best friend that's almost just like him and lives in Huntsville. Works for Redstone Technical Test Center." Russell. Spewing information today. Russell is grinding. Creating resistance there. We may pop on up just a little bit on Russell. Could pop as high as 2155. And we may roll. Actually, I took a long trade on futures just a few minutes ago, looking for 2080. We've got a pretty good channel going. We're gonna have to break that channel before. Yeah, it's similar to what I was talking about on the simplified S&P 500 chart here. Kind of see it here, coming up and right there. You can kind of see hanging in the channel. We break out the top, probably popping up here. If we break out the bottom, we're probably flushing. Simple as that on Russell. Oil, look at this. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Come on, let's go. 83, 86, 90 upside targets. Got to get above that right there. Clear that. It's game on. This is time to add your position on a break above that. And if it fails, it's not meant to be. But now is the time. We're looking for that move. 86 is kind of the, let's be conservative. 85, 86, right in there would be my most ideal target at this point. If we're lucky, we're going to get 89, 90. If we're if this is a move, we're going to get 83. So there you go. At this point, I'm going to start setting some alerts because I bought an initial position earlier in the week. Now it's time to stock up if you're going to stock up for the play. Leverage? No, don't leverage. This is not a high probability. This is not the highest probability type pattern. This is just a good normal play. So GC, this one was a load the boat situation. And there we go. I have $300 strike GLD calls out as far as I could possibly buy them. They're already up 10%. Still a fair buy if you want to try that. Why 300? Because that's about what I could afford, and I think that this could pay very handsomely. I bought an ounce of gold's worth of calls, so I basically put about $2,000 into those $300 calls. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And those of you that know, I also jumped into the trade of the chart of the week last week, NEM, and I got a few calls on that. Just a few. And Bitcoin looks like if we break out, we may go for extension. 72,900 right there. 76 above that. That's the basic. We did a retrace, and you have to look at the 30-minute chart, I think. Maybe even lower than that to see it. Yeah, there it is. Right here. You see this pullback? That high, that low, big rejection candle. Going ripping the other way. Sets it up. That target, 72,900. 76 above that, which the next extension on is right there, or the move way back there. And the bigger 1272 of the giant retrace. We have to jump up to the daily chart to see that right there, 85 essentially, 84.90, 84.990. Get all the numbers out of your mouth. Anyway, 84.990 right there. That's the big retrace. Right there. Down to right there. It's game on. Don't bet against it right now. If you take shorts, be very quick on closing them. This is not a good time to bet against Bitcoin. This is essentially the high probability pattern. We're 70% likely to go to a minimum of 8,400. And it's like win, right? Could be after halving. It could be later this year. I'm not sure. Well, we could just FOMO explode higher now. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. We could pull back. So time is very sensitive. I understand. But welcome to the excitement. It's what we got at this point. There's nothing, there's no ultimate clarity in this game. We're 70% likely to pop up to the 84 level. The intermediates here, we're basically 70% likely to hit the, from the small time frame pullback yesterday. We've now cruised on up through the 618 resistance. You can see we've slowed down, popped to the 786, kind of retraced back to the 618. So when we break above these highs, right here, orange zone and an orange zone, when we break above those highs right there from last night, it's game on. 70% likely we're going to tag that 72,900. Or, let's be a little conservative, 72,000. All right. There you go. Simple price action stuff. Ethereum, though, look at that. Already pushing out. It's 70% likely to hit 4,000. It came up a little shy here. 4,000, not that far. That's already 70% likely to do that. So that one's showing more strength than Bitcoin right now off of that pullback yesterday. Dollar. Ooh, looky. What do we got going here? We are pushing down. My downward bias starting to play out. If we get below these lows from back here in January, February, tips the odds we're going down to at least 99, if not cruising on down to the mid-90s down here. And it may take a while. It's not going to be, this won't be instant. CRWD. And here's the big question. Can the dollar drop and the stock market pop? Yes. Could the dollar drop and the stock market drop? Yes. They don't have to move inverse to each other. All right. They are not the same. So CRWD popping this morning on earnings. I considered playing that yesterday. I was like, just not feeling it. The implied volatility was nuts. We may see that pop on up. In fact, wasn't it a little higher overnight? Let's look at the 1 hour. Yeah, it was a little higher. was right up there at 3080. So we basically already visited the 1618. But it was in the pre-market where I don't really count it. So MSTR, chopping around here. This hit an upside target and hit the all-time high. Be very cautious, all right? This can retrace even with Bitcoin climbing, all right? Remember, just because they hold a crap ton of Bitcoin doesn't mean that they are Bitcoin. It is a company. It is independent. And there are buyers and sellers involved. Now, if Bitcoin's going to push out, it's highly likely they keep climbing because they have 190,000 Bitcoins. They keep diluting their stock and buying Bitcoins. And I mean, do the math on 190,000 Bitcoins. That's like $12 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot. They're basically making more money off of that Bitcoin increasing in value than they are in the rest of their company. I mean, go look at it. They make, where was it? Their sales, their revenue. Not even $500 million, almost $500 million, but not even $500 million in revenue. Net income, $429 million. After COGS, cost of goods sold. So then you have operating expenses, and last year net income was minus $1.47 billion. That's what they spent on Bitcoin. And the year before they spent it on Bitcoin. And this year they spend money on Bitcoin, and they've took on some debt to buy that Bitcoin. But the plan's kind of playing out at this point. And if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, 300,000, a million, it's probably they're going to look like geniuses. All right. But as far as running a company, essentially they're just investing in Bitcoin as their company plan. And I mean, they engage in the provision of analytics and mobility software. Firm designs, develops, markets, software, platforms. They don't mine Bitcoin, so don't get it confused. All right. They're not a Bitcoin miner. They're just a Bitcoin investor, but they do all this other cloud-based subscription junk to make their money. I don't know. Worth it? I don't know. It's been a wild, volatile ride, and we're due a retrace at this point. AVGO. I'd watch out for a retrace. That's starting to look a little rocky. If the market flushes in a bigger way, be careful. SMCI popping again. Right back up. New high. 1190 is the potential target there. I mean, 70% likely to go tag that. And then about 35% likely to go tag 1300 before we end the pattern. Now, looks like we're grinding on lower. ASML. Hey, that thing keeps rocking. Upside targets. Next one up, probably 1036 up there. NVIDIA keeps climbing. Target up here, 1250. Would make it the largest company in the world. I mean, Microsoft dropping and Apple dropping, it helps bring that level down a little bit. But I'd be careful. I'd be careful. If we get there, we might burn the whole market down. So LRCX, just churning at targets, nothing to do. MDB, oh, watch this one. If we find support and turn higher, that's a roadmap line setup. That's exactly what we expect to happen. And look how fast that happened. Very quickly. Very, very quickly. So watch for that to hold in that, turn back higher. We get back above this consolidation here. That's probably somewhere around 468. Sets us up for 539, 579. That's a nice potential. Now we may push just a little bit lower. Pull that fib line down just a hair. That's why you want to wait. Wait for the bottom and the reversal to show up, all right? Don't jump it now. We could push lower. It's pushed lower before. Moving on. SOXX, pushing on out. As long as NVIDIA is rocking, that one's rocking. EETH, Ethereum Pro Shares. This is Ethereum. So if you know BITO, here's your EETH. This is the kind of the version of the futures for Ethereum right here. If you think they're going substantially higher, you can grab some of that. We may see spot ETFs hitting in May, maybe. It's when the application approval denial is due. We'll see what the SEC comes up with. They've basically written it the same way as they have for Bitcoin spot ETF. There's a key difference here, though. There's a key fundamental difference in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you don't know, Bitcoin has a limited supply. That could be more like a commodity, right? Ethereum and Bitcoin's not controlled by any individual. Ethereum, on the other hand, is controlled by a small group of people and has no cap on supply. It's a very fundamental difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum is more like dollars, where you can just print more anytime you feel like it. And Bitcoin has a max fixed supply. There's only ever going to be 21 million. It's going to take us the next 150 years to get that 21 millionth Bitcoin mined out. We should all be so lucky to be here when it happens and see what happens. So there you go. All right. That makes Ethereum, like, how do they work that unlimited supply into the plan of Ethereum for the spot market futures, or for the spot market ETFs? I don't know. We'll see. See how this all plays out. All right. Moving on. So if you want to play, that's basically the Ethereum strategy that we have right now. That would be similar to BITO for Bitcoin. And I'm actually going to put an alert right there based on that pullback yesterday. 33, next upside target. FNGU seems to be easing off here. This is interesting. We have another one of those similar channel things going here. And we're pushing the bottom. If we get out of this, watch out for something. This is a 3x leverage ETN. Highly dangerous. There are no, last time I checked, no options available for this. If we are to break down, this thing may come back to the roadmap line very quickly. 240. Could be a big ouch. Coin keeps grinding on up to the target. 270. PNW potentially retesting the roadmap line. If we get through it, watch out for a retest of this area right here. Kind of came up to the resistance. We didn't even get into the full resistance zone. This may pull this fib line down like this, which would actually make a little more sense. Watch out. We may be heading on down to 224 on PANW. ZS. That's why I rewind a second. That's why I always tell you to wait for the conservative entry. It's risky to buy on the initial pop because we can find resistance and turn down and make another leg, which is looks like what we might be doing on PANW. So ZS potentially actually touching the roadmap line now. See if that holds. If that turns back above this consolidation right here, it's not very big. I mean, you only spent 4 days doing it, but if we pop above that, 276, 297 on the upside for ZS. Meta just keeps grinding toward the target at 564. BitX, told you that's a volatile mofo. 2x leverage on Bitcoin, and you can 10x it with options. Smart way to play? I don't know. It sounds like a dangerous way to play. The IV is incredibly high on these options too. So if I were doing it, I would only do it with shares and definitely have an exit plan in mind. Now, the pullback yesterday gave us high to low, that high to that low. Gives 58 and 63 as the next upside targets. If you're long this baby, be careful. We're sitting right on the 618. Right on that resistance. Right in the conservative entry. Popping above. Tips the odds 70% likely. We're not quite there yet. We're not getting the closes above that 618. You know, we opened. The pre-market action doesn't actually count for me. So we opened up and immediately closed below. Not the most bullish. But if we can hold that roadmap line and pop, 70% likely, 58. ANET. Let's see what we got here. That's about 70. Basically set it up right here. 70% likely to go tag 330. You got a lower entry if you want it. It is risky because we did reject a little bit off of the making a new high. Could go lower. Roadmap line is significantly on down here. So there you go. Do you risk it? 284 for 303, or could go down to 230. So $50 of downside versus $15, maybe $20 of upside. I don't know. Not worth it to me. I'm not playing it. AMD pushing on up into the target zone, 220 to 230, kind of the, or 215 to 230. We could top out here, and we could keep climbing. Another zone above that, 320. HODL, HODL. VanEx, spot ETF. Yeah, just looks like Bitcoin's chart. DXCM, bouncing off the roadmap line. Potential for 136, possibly 142 above that. TSM, rocking on up into the resistance zone. Watch for a reaction off of this. If we can push on through, that's bullish. If we don't, I mean, look, we've been here once, twice, 3 times, my lady. Not sure. We may get another one of these big retraces. I would be careful. Now, as I was pointing out last night, if you weren't here, if you didn't make it to the show last night, check this chart out right here. And if we go cover this up, let me grab something real quick. If we cover this up, look. How many charts have we looked at that look like that? How many? A bunch, right? Quite a few. See what happens. Now, I think that we actually find usually on bullish things, we find a new low somewhere up here. I went through that last night many times on Bitcoin. How we pop up, we do this, and we come down here and we find a low that's higher than the stuff we had over here. All right, it's not usually a full 100% retrace. So just be careful out there. You can see it. If you form it the right way, you see them setting up like this on the chart, right? So be careful. We may be just getting started, though. I mean, it could go much higher. You never know where the top is. Not really. LABU, that one may come back down here. Retest. The roadmap line may come up. The trend line coming down. We may go retest that before we can pop on higher. 220 is the upside target, though. Speaking of, check this out. I flashed this up a second ago. Look at that. This is seasonality. Last 20 years on the VIX. This is volatility of the S&P 500. VIX, basically, that's what that means. Typically, we see a pop mid-March. FOMC meeting, mid-March. Be careful out there. We haven't really seen this yet, so this ramp that usually starts in February didn't start so far. So watch out. We haven't really had this. We haven't really had any of this so far this year. So far, it's just been, it's kind of dead. We haven't had any of these heartbeat flashes. Now, here's the NASDAQ seasonality. Typically, we see a dip in March. And here's the S&P 500 seasonality. Typically, we see a return back to the beginning of the year for March. We haven't really seen any of this. Well, we've kind of seen this. We've just been doing this so far. So typically we see a dip. Be careful. All right. This is seasonality. 20-year history. I mean, that's, we have outliers, but be careful. Insurance broker Hippo coming up into the resistance. We get above that and get a pullback and then keep going. Maybe bullish right now. That's just straight up off the lows and then one of those exponential ramps. I mean, if you look at it, I see these things all the time. Look. Scale it the right way. Look. Is that not kind of just like that? Be careful. CRM. I like the patterns that are predictable. I don't like those exponential doodads. I mean, when you form them the right way, you can predict the exponential doodad, but CRM's up to the gap fill resistance, or actually it's prior high resistance. Made a new all-time high. If we can get a pullback, we can go for extensions. Usually my boxes like that are gap fills, but that one was just prior high topping action. Retrace back down into this zone would be super healthy and give me something to work with. And I'm sorry if you can hear my stomach. That is going. Come on. I can move a price target without even trying, but I can't delete a freaking fib. Now, here's the other scenario playing out. You see that one? Did that whole ramp and back down. It's not always the perfect example, but it's pretty dang close. So 361, 423, if we're going to do that. And we did come up resistance at the 618, bust through. So if you don't care about pullbacks, 361, 423. I tend to care about pullbacks, so I would look for another pullback in this zone before I jumped in for that 361 target. I don't know that I'll trade this, so I'm just saying I would if I was going to trade it. And that's the full statement there. Look at that. Another one of those. My target zone was up there around 233. We may see a giant retrace. USD. Look at that one. Same kind of thing. It's going to come back down. Did it over here. You see it, right? Like, it happens over and over. It's probably going to come back down at some point in time. Base. Couch base. Never even heard the package software. That could be something bullish in the works there. That's losing money. Lame. That was the IPO. That was probably the bottom. This is looking like something getting going. Ooh, interesting. We got resistance at 34. If we retrace back to this area right here, if we do something like that, it'd be a pretty nice potential right there. Let's set some alerts. Save that chart. JD looks like a continued pile of garbage. I mean, how low does China go? I don't know. But JD, pretty beat up. Baba, pretty beat up. Baidu, pretty beat up. One of these times, we're going to get some sort of reversal off this stuff. But apparently not today. APM. Don't trade that. Biotech pharma and a dumpster fire. Don't trade it. Meds, biotech, pharma. It's like a EKG. Don't mess with stuff like that. That one, another one. This is going to be ridiculous. This is probably going to come back down. Probably going to come back down to $1 whenever the hype in the market gets done. OKTA. That one might break out. It has earnings coming up. I guess not coming up too soon. May. I guess that was earnings were the last week. That's what I'm thinking. Earnings were last week, and we popped up here and just parking at those at the top of that prior consolidation. If we can get above that, bullish. If not, welcome to the retrace. Will be what would happen. Marvell, semiconductors, not superheroes, is probably going to top up. Pop. Once you pop, you can't stop. 90. Be the expectation there. AMAT keeps grinding higher. Next target up 220. NAT, Cloudflare, probably coming back down. After that exponential, it's looking like the retrace. Snow on the way down in a blaze of glory. Going down in a blaze of glory. Somewhere down there, lower low, is what I expect. This was a corrective structure. Correctively topped out, and how long is it going to take? I don't know. This correction right here took a freaking long time. I mean, look, June up through February. I mean, that was almost, 18 months of corrective gobbledygook. I would like to see one quick flush. I mean, it kind of flushed from that same price area down here pretty quickly. Yeah. Took 75 days, 51 bars. So a little over 2 months, almost 3 months. We could be down there by May. And then look for a reversal and a long-term entry for something very, very bullish on snow. BL, black line, chopping around here. It was popping yesterday. Don't see anything that gets me excited on this at the moment. There would be an upside target just a little higher. 68, possibly 72. DDOG. I would really like to see a retrace deeper, and it looks like it's working on it. Came up just shy of the 618 target, and probably going to come back down. TECL. Working on the resistance. May retrace. That's a leveraged thing. Be careful. Technology. I love technology. SOXL. Looks like we're trying to top out. We could go for extension up at 67. This is a leveraged long 3x bulls on semiconductors. It's like SOXX on crack, I guess. 3x long. PLTR, grinding at the target. Watch out for a retrace. FSLR. Finding resistance at the roadmap line. Watch for a move down. 116. S. Sentinel 1. Watch for the retrace all the way back to the roadmap line. ARM. Watch for the retrace back to the roadmap line. Same pattern. Slow ramp. Giant pop. Lower high. Retrace. 80 is my target. Win. I'm not trading it, so I don't have to have a win. Sometime in the future. Baba. Tried the head and shoulders. Failed. Tried it once. Tried it twice. It's got to go if it's going to go. Otherwise, head and shoulders fail is the other direction. And that would be at least down here. $62. QCOM. Upside target right up there. 172. Decliners. THO. Disney didn't make a list. I didn't have Disney. Oh, look at that. I mean, THO, look at that. Boom, right there. That can be the bottom of this move. Right there. EGPT. Oh. Vanek, Egypt. Apparently, Egypt not doing so hot. And I don't know. That's rough. Look, that same pattern. Different scale. Ramp and drop. Roast. ROST. Raw stores. Probably could use a retrace. ODD. Doesn't have enough candles for the roadmap line, so if that was an IPO, may have just been a relisting. Typically not bullish, and that doesn't look very bullish so far. We may see a drop. That was the lowest low. Be careful. WGO. Winnebago. That's just choppy. Slight uptrend, but very, very volatile choppy. Let's remain in that until we break up or down. FL. Foot Locker. Well, turning down at the 618 is not bullish. Man. Foot Locker may go out of business. Watch for support right here. If we do find support here and break back higher again, that's bullish. If we break below, probably going down to $9. In SSC, back to the roadmap line. EL, Estee Lauder. Glancing off the roadmap line. Watch for a retrace. Tesla, Salah. Looks like we're heading on down to the support line. 150. 158. I have a buy for 5 shares at 158. ANF. Abercrombie & Fitch. Man, talk about that's a whole different chart from that one. Venom, Viper Energy, VNOM, Venom. Watch for that. Retrace. It doesn't have to do that. That could be all the retrace and then it extends. BMEA, choppy sideways. Don't trade this stuff. And that's the list. That was the list. So I saw DIS. Let's just pop it up, see if it's moving. It's not moving. And moves less than $2. I don't even pay attention to it on the morning show. So there you go. S&P may pop again, but we may be done. So remember what I said, the levels there. There's your resistance. We're turning down right off of it. Watch out below. That would be the target for the next move down. Watch the roadmap line if we can hold it. So there's your resistance zone between 51.20 and 51.30 on the S&P futures. For S&P itself, it's not quite as complete a picture. We have less candles, less data, but roughly at 51.15 to 51.30 area. Same similar numbers. And we're already turning down. And this may get continuation lower. move the line, not the right there, 5,020, almost the same as the futures numbers, because the discrepancy between the futures and the S&P is almost nothing, because the contract rollover happens this week, right? This week, I think it's this week. The current ES contract expires very soon. So what am I talking about? ES1 exclamation point minus SPX. This discrepancy right here is what I'm talking about. And on a daily basis, you can see when the contract rolls over for the futures, and then we bleed it off, the difference, there's usually this is backwardation. Or no, that's contango. Contango, and then backwardation is the other one where we have when it drops on the rollover and then ramps. That happens occasionally. It's not as common as the contango. Contango is usually where we have a giant pop and then bleed it off as we come to the expiration of the futures contract. Then we roll over. And we're going to roll over again here in the next week. And then we'll bleed it off again. We'll move from the March contract to the June contract. Then we get into June, we'll move to the September contract, and then when we get to September, we'll move to the December contract. That's the way futures work. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you again soon. I'll be in Discord the rest of the day, and if you want to come join me, link is in the description below. Make sure you like if I said anything that was beneficial. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.